Hello everybody, Ray Garner here with Garner's Games. Here to do my weekly comic review. This week, we're going a little more sci-fi. Aliens vs. Avengers, #1. This comic is written by Jonathan Hickman, and art is by Esad Ribic, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I do like the art style. It is pretty neat. Now, I'll start off by basically telling you, to appreciate this story, you have to leave your comic book logic behind and look at this as more an Aliens book than it is an Avengers book. Because, as always, when you have these kind of crossovers, when you look at the astronomical level of intelligence that certain characters in the Marvel Universe possess, and ones that are specifically mentioned in here and are in here, there's little to no way that xenomorphs would ever be successful in taking over Earth. That being said, as again, you approach this with an aliens concept, not an Avengers concept. So, what we find out here is that the Shi'ar Empire is using the xenomorphs, and they're testing them out on various species to try to get the ultimate version of the xenomorphs. They're testing one out on the Creed. They're commenting that the scrolls seem to show the best deal, but they don't have a homeworld anymore, so they don't meet the parameters of their experiment. They are abruptly attacked by Wakandan warships, and the Black Panther is there to basically oversee the attempt to stop them from spreading the xenomorphs everywhere. And the Black Panther's son apparently has a tremendous little power up. He usually takes out 3 xenomorphs as if they're nothing. And they find out as they're taking on the remaining Shi'ar that this is targeting 4 planets, one of which is Earth. And basically, T'Challa goes back to Earth to try to set things up to defend. Of course, there's a time dilation because it's near a black hole. We get a small collage of aliens explaining how they take over Earth so quickly. They managed to take over, the Inhumans city, which resists for quite a little while until basically a schism in the haves and have-nots causes it to fall. Atlantis falls. Apparently there was no Namor to stop them. It's kind of my brief interpretation. Wakanda lasts the longest of almost anything else. The mutants evacuate Krakatoa to Mars, and all of them except Apocalypse leaves. And Apocalypse basically has decided he's just going to fight until he can't fight anymore, because survival of the fittest. That's our setup, which really is about half the book before we get to the main story. Which is basically Waylon, Carol, and Bruce are set up in this last stronghold of humanity on the planet. And all the Fantastic Four are dead. I always forget her name. Valerie, is that right? She has a plan basically to go ahead and stop the xenomorphs by creating a virus to destroy their eggs. Her attempt to do that, however, that she, as happens in every alien movie, she doesn't bother telling anybody that she's been infected when she was out collecting this egg. And she runs out of time. And she leaves a message for Bruce to tell him that she ran out of time, she was trying to do it, and not to come into the lab. Of course, in true alien horror movie fashion, we immediately open the door. We're told not to open. He kills the xenomorph that hatched out of her. There's always there's the egg that she brought back, so there's a face hugger running around. it attacks Miles, and we are basically going to burn Miles down so that he doesn't create another xenomorph. However, Miles has a symbiote. And the symbiote basically takes over the facehugger and reattaches basically to Miles' chest. So we got kind of a cool new look with the xenomorph facehugger on his body with the symbiote. And he says we're going to get the hell off this planet. And that's how that ends. Basically, Earth has already been conquered. Let's see where the story goes from here. The tone it's futuristic. I mean, Bruce looks like he's in his 80s. Val is 45. It's kind of interesting. It's kind of neat. It's a neat little take on aliens in the Marvel Universe. Again, it's you have to check your comic book logic at the door if you want to enjoy the book, because, I mean, Dr. Doom's not even mentioned in this. They do kind of explain away Reed not being able to figure out how to stop it, because he basically becomes more and more depressed as members of the Fantastic Four, end up being killed off or getting lost to who knows where, presumed dead. He takes the deal of trying to basically figure out how to save people who have been infected by the xenomorphs. And Val basically says that, the error was they were trying to stop the spread at the point of insemination. And her idea was basically to go back and stop the eggs from ever hatching. Doom cannot exist in this reality, because Doom would destroy the rest of the planet to save Latveria and have no qualms about it. So, Aliens 2, we stopped the aliens by nuking them from orbit. I don't think Doom would have a problem nuking, gamma radiating. Both him and Reed Richards have time machines to be able to go through time, extra dimensions to work with. So, yeah, I mean, like I said, gotta check your comic logic at the door. But it's a fun read. It's, very much an aliens deal with just superheroes involved. So you get those little superhero moments like Banner turning back into the Hulk, ripping through doors, that kind of stuff. But the stars of the book are the aliens. If you accept that going in, you'll really enjoy it. If you're expecting the superheroes to be like they are in the Marvel Universe, which is kind of set even past like a Kingdom Come setup, they're not going to be that way. My only real complaint is the mutants basically get away almost scot-free, which makes me almost feel like the writers were kind of like, hey, the mutants are rock, or we're not going to deal with the mutants. One or the other. So I didn't really quite appreciate that, because I'd like to have seen maybe some of the X-Men be involved in trying to help. That kind of leads into one of my problems with the current Marvel Universe, where the X-Men are their own universe within the Marvel Universe. And we have situations where, like, the X-Men are against the Avengers because the Avengers don't trust the X-Men, even though both of them have saved the planet multiple times. Both of them know about it. Both of them have people who have teamed up with each other on multiple occasions. There's tons of reasons to be friends. I mean, shoot, in the more recent story, Tony Stark and Emma Frost were married. The current Avengers, we have Storm just joined. Wolverine's been an Avenger. Spider-Man, who has teamed up with everybody in the Marvel Universe, has been an Avengers. He's helped the X-Men on more occasions than anybody could count. So I always hate that separation of the X-Universe is a sub-universe of the Marvel Universe. That's my only real complaint about the book, because I would like to have seen the X-Men be more a part of this, but it is Avengers versus Aliens, or Aliens versus Avengers, to make the order correct. But I still think we could have had a mutant X-Men who was an Avenger be part of it. Beast being the most obvious one, I mean, Hank McCoy is a scientist, knows a whole lot about all kinds of biology. So, and when I became a fan of Beast, he was an Avenger. So that would be my one critique of the overall building of the book, is that there's no real X-Men helping the Avengers, even though there are multiple X-Men who have been Avengers. Anyway, I think if you love aliens, you'll love this book. If you want the Fantastic Four and the Avengers to solve this as they would in the actual Marvel Universe, you're not going to like this book. I'm really happy with it. Anyway, that's my review for this week. I hope you enjoyed. Like, share, and subscribe. And I'll see y'all next week.